Today, another confirmation of more mortgage stress. Hello again, it's Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Welcome to this post covering finance and property news. Well, DFA released its report for January several weeks back and confirmed a further rise in mortgage stress. In our show on this important issue, we discussed the main methods used to assess mortgage stress. And now new research from Roy Morgan confirms our own findings. They say their research shows 1,609,000 mortgage holders, or 31%, were at risk of mortgage stress in the 3 months to January 2024. The period included an interest rate increase on Melbourne Cup Day, when the RBA lifted rates by 0.25% to 4.35%. The extended pause in official interest rates increases for 4 months from July to October 23 reduced the pressure on mortgage holders and allowed growth in several areas of the economy to catch up and reduce mortgage stress from the mid-year highs of about 1.56 million, they said. However, the interest rate increase in November has added renewed pressure on mortgage holders. And note that rather than using a cash flow measure as we do, Roy Morgan considers the risks of mortgage stress among mortgage holders in two ways. Mortgage holders are considered at risk if their mortgage repayments are greater than a certain percentage of household income, depending on income and spending. At risk is based on those paying more than a certain proportion of their after-tax household income, somewhere between 25 to 45%, depending on income and spending, into their home loan, based on the appropriate standard variable rate reported by the RBA and the amount they initially borrowed. Mortgage holders are considered extremely at risk if even the interest only is over a certain proportion of household income. Extremely at risk is also based on those paying more than a certain proportion of their after-tax household income, between 25 and 45% depending on income and spending, into their home loan based on the standard variable rate set by the RBA and the amount now outstanding on their home loan. And they say their approach is a conservative forecasting model, essentially assuming all other factors remain the same. Of course, unemployment is the key factor, which has the largest impact on income and mortgage stress, whereas we believe cash flow is probably the best measure of all. Anyway, Roy Morgan said that the figure for January represented a new record high for total mortgage holders considered at risk of mortgage stress, beating the previous record of 1.56 million in August and September 2023. That said, the proportion of mortgage holders at risk at 31% is well below the record high reached during the global financial crisis because of the larger size of the Australian mortgage market today. The record high of 35.6% of mortgage holders in mortgage stress was reached in mid-2008, they said. The number of Australians at risk of mortgage stress has increased by 802,000 since May 2022, when the RBA began a cycle of interest rate increases. Official interest rates are now at 4.35%. That's the highest interest rate since December 2011, over a decade ago. The number of mortgage holders considered extremely at risk is now numbered at 994,000, which is 19.8% of mortgage holders, which is significantly above the long-term average over the last 10 years of 14.3%. And then Roy Morgan also modelled the impact of a potential RBA interest rate increase of 0.25% in March 2024, which would take the rate to 4.6%. In January, 31% of mortgage holders, or 1.609 million, were considered at risk. If the RBA raised interest rates by 0.25% in March to 4.6%, then it'll be up to 31.3% and an increase of 16,000 on January 2024. And the number will increase further to 31.6%, up 0.6 points of mortgage holders in April 2024, an increase of 29,000 on January 2024. And by the way, the latest Roy Morgan unemployment estimates for January show almost 1 in 5 Australian workers are either unemployed or underemployed, just around 3 million, or 19.3% of the workforce. Australian unemployment virtually is unchanged in January, but overall unemployment and underemployment at 3 million, or 19.3% of the workforce, is an increase of 255,000, or 0.9% on a year ago. So while all eyes are on the latest inflation figures and the potential influence on future movements in interest rates, the fact remains that the greatest impact on an individual or household's ability to pay the mortgage is not interest rates, it's if they lose their job or the main source of income. Now, in a few days, I'll be releasing my February results for stress, and we expect this to remain in the very high range as costs of living and mortgage costs continue to rise. And we also will report rental stress, which is right in the front line, with rentals in some cases rising 20% or more over the last year. So the Roy Morgan correlation of our data is interesting, but their methodology, I don't think, is as good as what we do. But then, of course, I would say that, wouldn't I? Now, if you're buying your home in Sydney's contentious market, you don't need to stand alone. This is the time you need to have Edwin Almeida from Ribbon Property Consultants standing alongside you. Buying a property is both challenging and adversarial. The vendor has a professional on their side. Emotions run high, price discovery and price transparency are hard to find, and then there's the wasted time and financial investments that you make. Edwin understands your needs, so why not engage a licensed professional to stand alongside you? With RPC, you know you have experience, knowledge, and master negotiators looking after your best interests. So shoot Ribbon an email at info@ribbonproperty.com.au, and if you use the promo code DFAWTW/Martin, you can get a 10% discount offer. I'm Martin North from Digital Finance Analytics. Many thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.